Another battle that the West is fighting, a battle of narratives, a battle to win new allies, only that it is failing miserably at this. Forget new allies, even old friends of the West are ditching it, like Saudi Arabia. First, it refused to ramp up oil production for the European Union, and now it wants to be a part of BRICS, a bloc of 5 major emerging economies, including China and Russia. The president of South Africa says Riyadh is interested in joining this bloc. Why? Our next report telling you.
This is Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa. On Sunday, he visited the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and made a stunning revelation. Ramaphosa said that Riyadh wants to join BRICS, a bloc of 5 major emerging economies: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Saudi Arabia wants to be its 6th member. At least that's what Ramaphosa claims. Here's what he said during the visit. The Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman did express Saudi Arabia's desire to be part of BRICS. That's not all. The South African president says Saudi Arabia is not the only country. A couple of others are keen on joining as well. Watch this.
They have a great desire, and they are not the only country that is finding the BRICS family or formation attractive because of what BRICS stands for. And so we did say to them, the BRICS nations are going to be meeting in a summit next year under the chairship of South Africa, in South Africa, and the matter is going to be under consideration. And already a number of countries or nations have been making approaches to each of the BRICS members, and we've given them the same answer, that it will be discussed by the BRICS partners themselves, 5 of them, and thereafter a decision will be made.
So how does one perceive this? Why are so many countries keen on joining BRICS? And what about the Saudis? What's their intention? To answer this, we'll first have to understand the purpose of BRICS. It was established to serve as an alternative to Western blocs, to counter their hegemony in geopolitics and the global economy. So, is Riyadh's bid to join BRICS an attempt to disassociate itself from the West? It surely seems like it, because Saudi Arabia's relations with Washington have hit a new low. Look at some recent developments. OPEC Plus has refused Biden's request to ramp up oil production. It then snubbed Biden's threats with a sharply worded statement. Then, as if to rub salt on injury, an American citizen has been sentenced to 16 years in prison in the kingdom. This was followed by another snub. Saudi Arabia did not extend an invitation to American officials for an investment conference scheduled for later this month. And now Saudi Arabia wants to join BRICS. It all seems to be part of a strategy. Saudi Arabia's push to decouple itself from the United States and ultimately the West. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
WION now available in your country.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect. This is your brother Dawada from the Men of Valor campaign, Greenville, South Carolina, coming back with another video in sincerity and in truth, and Lord willing, it can be edifying. And this video is going to be going into these different BRICS countries. All right, BRICS, and you know the downfall of America as a superpower. All right, as a world superpower. You know, because it started with the economics and the money of things. All right, BRICS was created, as you heard in this video, was created to pretty much combat, when they say the West, the country that spearheads the so-called West is America, Babylon the Great, America, NATO, and the EU, all right, which is completely biblical. All right, those are the beasts with the 7 heads and 10 horns. The 7 heads being NATO, the NATO nations, the 10 horns being the European Union nations. And in America is that great whore that sitteth upon that scarlet colored beast. All right. And this was seen in Revelation. So we're seeing now that its power on the earth is beginning to wane, because now you see these different nations, and BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, South Africa, and China. All right. And all these, the main two heavyweights in that is China and Russia, which we know they first have started this economic alliance to combat the U.S. dollar, but now it's going to basically transform into a military alliance. All right, because right now you have America and Russia in direct opposition concerning Ukraine. All right, make no mistake about it. America was using Ukraine as a proxy army, but now it's becoming more clear that, they're desensitizing the media to us being, or America being, in direct conflict with Russia. And once, that's fully set in motion, World War III, all right, which we know we won't fully get, cracking, all right, and missiles won't start flying, the intercontinental ballistic missiles, until the MOTB is established. But you have the weakening of this dollar, all right? And what's so important about Saudi Arabia was they were the country, through their oil and dealing in the U.S. dollar, which is known as the petrodollar, was the reason why America's currency, had that global dominance around the world. No other currency had the weight that the U.S. dollar had. And it was because of Saudi Arabia and their oil, right? Everybody was buying oil in U.S. dollars. But now you have these BRICS nations stepping in, and with Russia invading Ukraine, and, the United States having all these different countries sanction Russia, Russia set off to, fully just step into, dealing with the ruble, dealing with gold, dealing with, and setting up this whole BRICS thing, man. So you have the direct opposition. So it's making the U.S. dollar wane in its buying power, So I have this article right here from Pakistan Today, all right, because Saudi Arabia potentially joining BRICS will be major, and it's definitely going to be the end of the U.S. dollar, man, which they want to bring about this anyway, because they're going to do away with these different physical denominations and bring in a digital currency, CBDC, central banking digital currencies. All right, so this is all part of a greater plan, but, as us standing upon our watch, this is definitely something to look out for. So Pakistan Today, January 17th, 2023, it says Saudi Arabia joining BRICS, a strategic game changer. It says in the book, BRICS and Global Governance, emerging markets and developing countries are increasingly playing a defining role in those trends, particularly in the growing cooperation among emerging markets and developing countries in the form of South cooperation. It was only said by the Greek philosopher and famously said, change is the only constant in life. And hey, damn what they talking about. What did the scriptures say? That the Lord ruleth in the kingdom of men. He setteth up one and take it down another, roughly paraphrasing. All right, we know Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So as Esau's kingdom is coming to a close, these different BRICS nations think that they may be up next to rule. All right, the Lord is going to dissolve all these kingdoms of the earth. He's coming to take over the earth, and Israel is going to be in control. But the Lord is using this to stir up this conflict of World War III, because these different nations are going to be in opposition to America, including its own former allies in the NATO countries and the European Union countries. According to the scriptures, they're going to end up shooting their missiles on America, Babylon the Great, burning her with fire. All right, so we're seeing the beginning stages of this whole economic downturn, man. Okay, America's losing its power. It says Saudi Arabia is speculated to join BRICS, which can potentially be a strategic game changer in the global arena. The BRICS countries have a growing military and political influence on the global stage, and that's important. That military, influence, Russia and China, and then you're going to have different countries that are trying to join them that join unto them. It says by forming a bloc, the BRICS countries can exert a collective influence and present a united front on issues of their mutual concern. BRICS is a bloc whose name stands for the 5 member countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Together, these countries represent a significant portion of the world's population and economic output. BRICS accounts for nearly 42% of the world population, 27% of the land area, and 32% of global GDP. And the grouping, if the grouping were to be expanded, it could potentially increase the global influence of the BRICS bloc. And all that means is America has less power and authority on the earth. It says there has indeed been discussions in the past about expanding the membership of the BRICS grouping, but to date, no new members have been admitted. Saudi Arabia have recently applied to join the BRICS. However, the admission of the oil-rich kingdom will be based on the consensus of all the countries of the bloc. It is important to note that the BRICS countries are sovereign nations with their interests and priorities, and decisions to expand the grouping would likely require consensus among all member countries. It is also possible that other factors, such as the potential impact on the group's dynamics and goals, could be taken into consideration in any decision to admit new members. And this case that could be made for Saudi Arabia is it would weaken the dollar, which they want to see.